So first off, I take it that nothing has changed between you and Matt Hughes. You've got the same old feeling. First of all, just give us a bit of context. Where did this whole animosity, where did this whole issue with Matt Hughes come from?
It's purely about his extracurricular activities. I don't agree with sport hunting. I think it's a very ignorant practice, and I know that he invests a lot of time in it. I know he's taken trips out to Africa to shoot a bunch of animals, and I don't understand. It's a sociopathic drive. It's not a healthy hobby. You know, it's anytime you're causing pain to something else for your own pleasure is a very sick-minded individual. As an athlete, he was great, and as a colleague working with him with the UFC for a few years, I had no problem with him. He's a very personable individual, but the extracurricular activities I can't abide, and as people know, I'm always a little bit outspoken. I've always got an opinion, and it's not always welcome, but I think a lot of people agree with me on this. I think it's time for sport hunting to be put to the side and for us to evolve as a species.
Well, speaking of hunting, it looks like old Matt Hughes is hunting for an opponent. He's talking about making a comeback. Now, you recently talked about a comeback. Now, let me just join the dots here. How about it?
Well, I mean, for a start, he's an old man. I mean, he's 43 now, so I don't know how serious he is at this idea of a comeback. I don't know how interested the UFC would be in signing an old man as well. And he also said that he would fight if he can find somebody he can beat. And I don't know whether he thinks he can beat me, but I don't see many people on the UFC roster that he would be able to beat at the moment. Especially, people that we would want to see him fight. I mean, we don't want to see him fight any up-and-comers. It's going to have to be a veteran. And he's been out of the sport for a long time. It wouldn't surprise me if he signs with another organisation and gets a couple of fun fights. And if he does, fair play to him. I understand that urge and that drive. And if he feels the need to fight, then I think he should. And I will watch as a fan. I will watch. I always learnt a lot from watching Matt Hughes. He's great wrestling, great ground and pound. In comparison to people in the sport now, Matt Hughes has still got some of the best ground and pound that we've ever seen. Like I said, I respect him as an athlete, and I would watch him fight again if he wanted to, just out of intrigue purely. But I don't think he needs to. I think he's done everything he needs to in the sport, and yeah.
Finally, just on your timetable for coming back, you've spoken quite recently about you are looking to actually step back into the cage. Is that still the case? And if so, what's the timetable?
I don't have a timetable. I've taken the first steps. I've been and seen a cardiologist, a specialist in Europe, and I've done all the tests that I need to do. I have the paperwork that basically clears me to fight. The next stage now would be speaking to USADA and getting into the testing pool and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's still an internal debate as to whether it's the right thing for me to do, because I have a responsibility to the sport as a commentator and analyst now, and I do take that very seriously. And I know that me fighting again would be a very, very selfish drive. And it's the other thing as well. It's not just me coming out of retirement; it's me dragging my whole family out of retirement as well, because they've got to witness it and go through that with me. So we'll see where it goes. They know I want to fight again, and they're supportive, but it's a big decision for me to make, and yeah, I would love to fight again. There's no doubt about it. I would love to fight, and if the opponent's right and if the timing's right, I will definitely be back in there.
Okay, I did say it was going to be your last question, but in terms of opponents, you must have your eye on a few people. And okay, let me just run you through the list. Or you're going to run me through the list, Eva.
I don't have a list, and I'm trying not to keep one because the sport changes so quickly. Guys that are available now that would be fun fights may not be available when I'm cleared to fight, and I don't want to start putting rumours out there and stuff, because obviously I work as an analyst, so I don't want me mentioning people's names to affect my interactions with these fighters, because that is something I've got to consider. But I mean, I have stipulations. I want a veteran. I want someone that knows their game very well. Someone that's had a lot of fights and is familiar to the fans. The last thing I want is to be taking a fight against someone who I have to explain who they are to the fans. I want a name. I want someone that's a veteran, that would be a fun fight, and that the fans would get really excited for, and that would motivate me to train hard as well.